Good morning, students. So, we are now in this chapter studying about the elections, political parties, and pressure groups, right? So, already we in the last class we learned about the elections. So, today's class is about the political party. So, what is meant by political party? So, a political party is an organization formed by a group of people with a certain ideology and agenda to conduct elections and hold power in the government. So, what is meant by political party? Political party means it is an organization, like you can say, like if ADMK is one political party, and then DMK is another political party, right? So the political party means it is an organization, and each party has certain ideas and certain rules. So what the purpose of these political parties? They want to connect, they want to rule the government, they want to be in the power. So that is the purpose of the political parties. So each political party have three components. What are they? A leader, a active member, and the followers. So in each parties we have one leader and one active member and the some of the followers. So these are the components of political parties. Then we can divide this political party system into three types. Okay, what are they? Means single party system, two party system, and multi party system. So um, we can divide these party systems into three types. What are they? Single party system, two party system, and multi party system. So what is meant by single party system? Here in single party system there will not be any opposite parties. That means no opposite party was allowed or permitted to exist. Okay, so here in single party system, in which one ruling party only exists, only one ruling party is exist, and no opposition party is permitted. So they will not give permission to any other parties, like where in China, Cuba, and USSR. In these countries there will be only one ruling party, and the other the opposite parties or any other or any other political parties are not allowed to be exist. And next one is the two party system. In this two party system only two parties are having, like in USA and UK. There in that countries they allowed only two parties, one ruling party and one other opposition parties. The next one is the multi-party system. So multi-party system is more than two political parties are allowed. So like in India we having more than two, right? Like ADMK on political parties, then DMK on political parties, BJP on political party, like that we have more than two political parties. So that is the multi-party systems. These are the types of party system. Then types of political parties. So we can divide these political parties into two main types. They are the national and state parties. So the political party means in the national party we can again divide the national party into two types, the ruling party and opposition party. And the state party also we can divide it into two types, that is ruling and opposition parties. Okay, so these are the political parties. So we can divide the political parties into two types. We can divide the party system into three types. So don't confuse with this. So political parties are, first one is national party and the next one is the state party. First is the national party. So what is mean by national party? Um, so in national party, it is the party which is recognized as the state party. In at least four state is recognized as the national party. So How we can say the national party means in that if the particular party was recognized by more than four states of the country. So in India, if you are taking one a political party, and if it is not only one, if it was recognized by more than four states, means that party can be considered as the national party. Okay, so uh, here uh, these parties have they each party have they have unique symbol. So these parties will have a unique symbol, and only the official candidate of the party can use that election symbol. So only the member of that party, or only the official candidate of that party only able to use that the election symbol. No other can use that symbols, right? You all know our countries or our state election policies. You know, all these parties have separate symbols, right? Only that party only use that symbol. So yes, this so in India, in 2017, we are having seven recognized national parties are having for having in India. So this is about national parties. So national parties means if you're if the if the particular party was recognized by more than four states, then it can be called as the national party. So these parties have a unique symbols, and only that official candidate can use that symbol. So in 2017, there are seven recognized parties in India. Then what is meant by state parties means, so, other than the seven national parties, most of the major parties of the country are classified by the Election Commission as state parties. So, we have known that seven national parties. Other than that seven national parties, all the other parties in India we can consider, or we can call it as the state policy. How we can say that state parties mean a party is recognized as a state party on how means in India by based on certain percentage of vote secured or certain number of seats won in the assembly or Lok Sabha. So how we can say that state party means a party is recognized as a state party by certain percentage of votes it, or a certain percentage of seat it won in the as in the assembly or Lok Sabha elections. In the according to the seat, or according to their win in Lok Sabha and assembly, the state party can be recognized. Okay, so then the recognition of the parties. So these are this we are having three criteria for the recognitions of the party. First one is at least 6% of vote in at 6 vote in at least four states and member of the Lok Sabha. So for the national parties, or for the recognition of that party, and if you want to know about that party means if they want to recognized by all the states, all the countries means it should possess 6% of at least 6% of vote in four states and the members of the Lok Sabha. Then second point, in the election of Lok Sabha, at least 2% member from at least three states are elected to Lok Sabha. So from that parties, at least 2% of people should be elected to the Lok Sabha. Then third point is so that party should be recognized by four states. So these are the recognition to the national party. For getting recognition as the national party, that party should possess three criteria. First one is at least 6% vote should be gained in from at least four states. Then second one, at least 2% of the members from that party should be selected in the Lok Sabha, and then that party should be recognized by four states. It should be in the national, this party should be the recognized by at least four states of country. So these are the uh, criteria for recognizing the national parties. Then what are the, we have some functions. What are the functions of these political parties? What are the what are the functions these political parties will do? Okay, so we have some certain functions. The first one is the parties will conduct elections. What the first function, what the political parties will do, they will conduct elections, right? They will, what is the purpose of these political parties? They want to rule the country, they want to be in power. Okay, they want to become a head. So what they will do, they will conduct the elections. The next point, we can say the parties put forward their policies and programs before the electorate to consider and choose. So what each parties will have certain policy and programs. They will contain, they will conduct some campaigns, they will conduct some programs, political, that means some meetings and all with the peoples, before the elections, or to say their so to give their propagations, or to give their rules, and also they will put forward some policies and programs before the elections. Then then third point, they will play a decisive role in making laws for the country. So what they will do, they will make some laws for the country, so that they will, before in the elections, the what, each parties have certain laws, certain rules, and certain policies, right? So they will follow that rules and that laws before, before they form the parties, or after forming the parties, each parties will make certain laws for the country. So then the fourth point is what they will do if they win means they will form and run the government. So the select the ruling party, or the party who was win in the elections will form the government, and they will run the government, or they will lead the country. They will be in the power. And then next point is those parties that lost in the elections will play the role of opposition to the party or a group of coalition parties in the power by voicing different views and criticizing the government for its failures or wrong policies. So the party who is lost in the election will be the opposite party or the opposition party. And what they will do, they will also go to the parliament, and they will give voice against the ruling party. And for if the ruling party is taking any decisions, or any, if they are giving any laws, and what the opposite party will do, they will give some criticism, or they will oppose that rules, or they will give their point of view to that laws, etc. Okay, so that is the role of the opposite party. So the opposite party will give different voice of different views, and also they will criticize the ruling parties policies. Then parties shape public opinion, they raise and highlight issues of importance. So they will, what the parties will do, they will give importance to the public opinions. That means they give voice for the importance of people's, the what people need. If any places, any, if that means if the road is not good, or if they're having any problems in, sorry. So the opposite party will or not only the opposite party, the political parties will give importance to the public opinion, and they will highlight the issues of the peoples. That means if any places they have any issues with the issues for peoples or public, means the parties will give voice for that people, right? So the next point was on the parties function as the useful link between people and the government machinery. So the political parties will have the super link between the people and the government government machinery. So these are the functions of the political parties. So the next topic is the pressure groups. So what is mean by pressure group? Pressure group means so the pressure group means a pressure group is a group of people who are organized for promoting and defending their common interest. So that means pressure group means they are a group of, they're having a group of people, and that group of people they will promote some their ideas, or they will defend the common interest. They will defend some that means if they're having some groups like for studies wise, or for agriculture wise, there are some pressure group peoples out there. They will show their interest while these peoples are facing any problems. They will raise their voice against the government, or against for their need. They will raise their voices. So they are called the pressure groups. These pressure groups are also called as the interest groups or vested groups. So these pressure groups people we can also called as the interest groups or the vested groups. So these pressure groups are actually they are different from the political parties, because they will not go for elections. They will not contest elections, not try to capture the political parties. So these political parties was not interested in election. They don't want to be in power. They don't want to rule the country, okay? But what they need, they will give their voice for certain issues or certain problems. They will give their voices. They are the pressure groups. So we have many pressure groups in India. They are the large number of pressure groups exist in India, but they are not developed to the same extent as in USA or the Western countries like Britain, France, Germany, and so on. So actually we have many pressure groups in India, but it was not they are not like the people pressure groups in USA and other countries like Britain, because in USA and in Western countries like Britain, France, and Germany, they are um, they are they are having more importance in that countries. But in India, this the we are not that the pressure group peoples are not getting that much of importance in India. So there we can classify these pressure groups into these following categories: um, business group, trade union, agrarian groups, professional association, student organization, religious organization, tribal organization, linguistic groups, then ideology based groups, environmental protection groups. So these are the types of pressure groups we have in India. Okay, so we have 10 types of pressure groups in India. What are they? Business groups, trade unions, agrarian groups, professional associations, students organizations, religious organizations, then tribal organizations, then linguistic groups, ideology based groups, and environmental protection groups. Then we can say what are the functions of pressure groups in India. So pressure groups are the highest interest groups that works. Okay, what are the functions we have means First one is the political participations. So the political participations pressure groups can be called the informal phase of policies. They exert influence preciously by the mobilizing popular support through activities such as petitions, marches, demonstrations, and other forms of political interest. So what they will do means, actually this pressure groups are not interested to be in conduct any elections, or to they want to rule the country, right? They are not interested in that. But what they will do means, if any issues are happening means, they will give petitions to the government, and they will conduct marches. They will for against, if I'm saying an example, if they're having students organizations, we're having one students organization. So if any students or facing any if any students was get affected in any country or any place, what the students organization pressure group will do, they will conduct they will do some marches, or they will protest against the government for that students. They will for the for that student, for that affected students, this pressure group will do some campaigns or some marches, okay, against the political parties. So that is the political participations of the pressure groups. What they will do, they will give petitions, they will give conduct marches and demonstrations and other forms of political protest. So like this participation only, they will show interest in the political side. So such a forms of political participation have been particularly attractive to young people. So actually this was mostly happening in Kerala side. They will, for any issues are happening means, they mostly they will, what they will do, they will conduct protests against that issues, right? So if for example we can say one protest we did is for the Jallikattu, for Jallikattu problem also. Some people, certain people started the protest against the government, right? So that is also the pressure group. That means some the people who want to conduct the Jallikattu make some protest, and all the other young peoples also join that protest. It was against the government. So this is that was conducted by the pressure groups. The next one was education. Many pressure groups devote significant resource by carrying out research, maintaining websites, commenting on government policy, and using high-profile academics, scientists, and even celebrities to get their views across, with the emphasis to cultivate expert authority. So many pressure groups people, what they're doing means, they are get getting researchers, then they are maintaining some website for that pressure groups, and also they are commenting on government policy, and they will comment the government rules and policies what the governments are giving. So then they are using high profile academics like that. So some pressure groups, what they will do means, they will get super knowledge from the research. They will do research again, then they will maintain some website in their pressure group names, like this organization, this trust, or this human rights. So like that, they will maintain some websites for that groups, for that pressure groups. And other peoples, though those who are the affected peoples, we can, what we can do, we can give the petitions, or we can tell to that, if we can tell our problems with that websites, or if you're sending messages to that website means, they will give voice for us. So that is in the place of educations. Then policy formations. Though the pressure groups themselves are not policy makers, yet it does not prevent many of them from participating in the policy making process. Many pressure groups are vital source of information and render advice to the government, and they are regularly consulted in the process of policy formations. So for policy formation means this also they are not policy makers, so these pressure groups are not policy makers, yet it does not prevent many of them from participating in the policy making process. What they will do is, many pressure groups are vital source of informations and give advice to the government. And what they will do, they will give advice to the government. So the many pressure groups or vital source of information, they will give source, they have many informations and they will give advices to the government. So these are the some of the functions of pressure groups in India. So that is political participations in education and in for policy formations or the main functions of the pressure groups in India.